Hi everyone, my name is Sonia Gordillo and I am one of the pre-health advisors in the College of Arts and Sciences Advising located in Tykeson Hall. Today we're going to go over the veterinary school academic requirements. So these are the requirements you need for admissions to veterinary programs. So we'll go over the common requirements, those that can vary school to school. We'll talk about some highly recommended courses, and then we'll talk about the nuances in relation to these admission requirements. Lastly, I'll point you to some resources that you can utilize as you navigate your pre-vet journey. The first common requirement for veterinary school admissions is general chemistry with lab. You'll need 1 year, so that's chemistry 221, 222, and 223. And then there is a corresponding lab to these, so that is 227, 228, and 229. The lecture is 4 credits, and then the labs are 2 credits. You can choose to take them concurrently, or you can start off by doing just the lecture and then adding in the lab later on, as the lecture is a co-requisite or prerequisite for that lab. Next, we have general biology with lab. You'll need 1 year. So that's bio 211, 212, and 214. Biology majors, you're going to do all 4 parts of this sequence. And then for human physiology, multidisciplinary science, and non-STEM pre-vet students, you get the choice of 213 or 214. I would recommend the 214 as this is the course you'll need for completing the prerequisite for common bio upper division courses you'll need for admissions. Next, we have organic chemistry with lab. You'll need 1 year. So that's chemistry 331, 335, and 336. These are 4 credit lectures. And then there is the lab, which is 337 and 338. No lab in the spring. And the reason being is because these labs are 3 credits each. So it's still a year's worth of lab. Next, we have physics with lab. You'll need 1 year. So just like that general chemistry sequence, it's 4 credits for the lecture, 2 credits for the lab. You can choose to take them concurrently, or you can start off by doing just the lecture and then adding in the lab later on. Next, we have biochemistry. So it's pretty common for programs to require at least 2 quarters of biochemistry. So naturally, you would need a pivot to do the 400 level sequence of biochemistry. So that would be Chem 461. Everybody would need to take that one. And then you get the choice of 463, which is offered every winter term, and then 462, which is offered every spring term. Keep in mind that some programs want you to complete certain curriculum as part of the biochemistry requirement. For example, UC Davis wants you to complete biochemistry with metabolism. So if you're interested in applying to UC Davis, you would need to complete chemistry 461 and the 462 to satisfy their prerequisite. Next is the physiology requirement, whether it's human or animal, and you'll need 1 quarter of this. So at U of O, we have a human physiology course, which is HIPE 322. And then in order to take this course, you would need to add to your graduation plan human physiology 212, because this is a prerequisite in order to take that physiology course. So human physiology 212, this is called scientific investigations in physiology. You'll need to add this to your graduation plan. Next is molecular genetics. You'll need 1 quarter, so that's bio 320. And then we have statistics, also 1 quarter of this. So that could be stats 243Z, or you could do psychology 302, which is an advanced stats course, or math 425, which is also another advanced stats course. Additional courses to consider. So we have some requirements that vary here and highly recommended courses. So microbiology lecture and lab is one that can vary school to school. So that's bio 330, 331 here at U of O, 3 credits for the lecture, 3 credits for the lab. And next we have cell biology. This is another course that can vary school to school. So at U of O, it's bio 322. So it may be worthwhile to explore some programs to determine whether or not you want to add this to your graduation plan, or you can talk to your academic advisor to see if there's a way for you to incorporate this into your graduation plan in a way that double dips with your major or minor requirements. Next is public speaking. This is another one that can vary school to school. So if you're interested in adding this one to your graduation plan, you would need to take English 200. And then we have a third quarter of biochemistry. Pretty rare that a program would require a third quarter of biochemistry. But if that is the case, then you would be taking all 3 parts of that biochemistry sequence. And then next is English composition 1 year. So at U of O, to complete your core education requirements for your degree, you would need to take writing 121 and then your choice of 122 or 123. So that is 2 quarters, not necessarily the full year. So in order to complete the 1 year, you would need to do all 3 parts. Or another loophole to this would be to do the 2 writing courses that you need for your degree. And then for that last one, you would do in like a standard English course, like comparative world literature. And that way that counts as a arts and letters course, and you're still progressing on your degree requirements. So that's a little loophole there if you're interested in doing your 2 writing courses and then an arts and letters English course to satisfy your 1 year. Next, we have highly recommended courses. So as you can see, if it's not required by the program, then it's highly recommended. So it's microbiology, cell biology, that molecular genetics as well. You know, there's a couple programs out there that don't require it, but they do highly recommend it. And then lastly, there is anatomy and physiology and biochemistry lab that is also highly recommended. Regardless, most programs want you to take additional upper division science courses. So it's pretty common for pre-vet students to pursue a STEM major here at U of O. Some common majors to consider would be neuroscience, multidisciplinary science, biology is a pretty common one, and then human physiology. So take a look at those. You could also consider other majors. Just be sure that you are talking to your academic advisor about your major choice and incorporating these pre-vet requirements into your graduation plan. Some nuances for these prerequisites. So the first one is that they are all required to be graded. Pass, no pass is not accepted. So this is not to say that you can't utilize a pass, no pass option here at U of O. It's just to say that if you do utilize it, you'll need to retake it for that letter grade. In addition to that, most programs require a C or better for those prerequisites. So if you get a C- in that second term of lower division biology, unfortunately, you would have to retake it for that C or better. And then AP IB credit acceptance. We get a lot of questions around this, whether or not programs accept AP IB credit for those prerequisites. And yes, most programs will accept it. And you can look at additional information regarding this in the AA BMC pre-vet FAQ page. So take a look at that. There are a couple programs that don't accept AP IB credit. So if you're not sure whether or not you want to retake AP IB credit that you received that is a prerequisite, you're welcome to come into pre-health advising or email us so we can talk about it further. But another way to kind of look at it is whether or not you feel confident moving forward taking upper division sciences in that topic. For example, if you received AP credit for general chemistry, do you feel confident that you're going to be successful in organic chemistry? So that can kind of help decide whether or not you want to retake that sequence. And then lastly, you get a chemistry minor out of this. So in completing the organic chem sequence, you have satisfied the chemistry minor. So when you're ready, go ahead and declare that on the chemistry website. So if you Google UO chemistry minor declaration, it should take you to that page. General rule of thumb. So we recommend that you follow the common requirements list. So in following that common requirements list, that should allow you to cast a wide net into the various veterinary programs out there. We do also recommend that you take a look at those requirements that vary and highly recommended courses to see how much of that you would like to add to your graduation plan. So in order to make an informed decision, it is important that you're starting to research some programs. So you can do that through the AVMA program directory, or you can do a general Google search of veterinary programs. And if you do take a look at veterinary program websites, just know that you may need to do some credit conversion. So just know that a general conversion would be when they say 1 semester, that is equivalent to 2 quarters. And then if they say they want 2 semesters of something, that is equivalent to 3 quarters or a year. Sometimes programs have things on their website by the credit amount. And so you'll need to do some math in order to see how much you would need to complete for that certain subject. So if you're trying to convert quarter credit to semester, divide quarter credit by 1.5, semester to quarter credit, multiply semester credit by 1.5. There's a couple examples here if you want to pause the video and take a look at that. But if you have any questions about credit conversion and want to make sure that you are satisfying the minimum credit amounts that you need for that prerequisite, feel free to reach out to us. All right, so next step would be to do some graduation planning. So as you are mapping out your graduation plan for the next few years, there are some nuances that I want you to consider. So if you see your major listed here, do take a pause on this video and take a read at that. So neuroscience, biology, biochem majors, there are some details here that you'll want to take a look at. And then human physiology majors, I do want to talk about this a little bit more because this is something that frequently comes up. So if you're a human phys major taking general chemistry in your first year, more specifically that chemistry 221 in your first year or second term, so winter term, you'll need to consider taking chemistry 223 over the summer so that you can start organic chemistry fall of your sophomore year. The reason being is that the organic chem sequence is a fall start only. There isn't like a fall and winter start of that chemistry 331 course. So you'll need to start it in the fall, otherwise you're bumping it to summer or another academic year. And the way the sequences kind of map out for the human physiology major, it makes it a little bit challenging in order for you to have some balance between science and non-science courses. So in order to maintain that balance, we recommend that you take chemistry 223 over the summer so that you can start that OChem sequence in the fall. We do offer that course over the summer online through U of O if you're wanting to do it through U of O, or we can take a look at community college near home to see if they're offering it over the summer. If so, you could take it there, transfer it to U of O at the end of the summer, and then thereafter you can sign up for that organic chem course. So do talk to your advisor about that. If taking chemistry 223 over the summer is not possible, that is okay. We'll do some creative graduation planning just to be sure that you're gonna be able to stay on track. Okay, so other things to keep in mind as you're doing some graduation planning, do take a look at the prerequisites for individual classes. So one that comes as a surprise to students is that Bio 214. The prerequisite for this is Biology 212 and Chemistry 223. So that chemistry is always a surprise. You have to complete both of these in order to sign up for 214. There's no exceptions to it. So do take a look at prerequisites for individual classes. Also keep in mind whether or not you need to retake a course for a C or better. Does it make sense to retake it immediately after you took that course, or does it make sense to push it off for another term or another year? And then lastly, we have, are you considering taking summer courses in the sciences or some core education classes? So, think about whether or not you would want to do this at U of O. We do offer the physics and biology sequence in person over the summer. They're 4-week intensive classes, but you would be able to knock off an entire sequence over a summer technically. And then similarly, the organic chemistry sequence is offered over the summer. The OChem lectures are offered online and the labs are in person. So you have some options there if you're wanting to do a sequence over the summer, but you could also consider doing a couple core ed classes so that way you're having a lighter schedule during the academic year if you'd like. All right, so I do want to point you to a couple resources on our pre-health website. So if we're looking at our screen here, when you are on the pre-health website, if you go to the plan section, you can find all of this academic information on this 4-year overview here. So take a look at this. You can see the common requirements, those that vary, and it has a sample 4-year plan. So you can see what it could look like for you to map out all of these sequences into a 4-year plan. Everybody's graduation plan looks a little bit different, so just make sure you're working with an academic advisor on this so you can be sure you are setting yourself up for success every single term. There is a link down at the bottom for that program directory page. And then the other resource I wanted to mention is our Canvas page. So if you don't already have access to it, do fill out this form right here so you can get access to it. And then when you are on the Canvas page, you go down to the module section here, and then down to veterinary medicine and plan. So here you can see a PDF format of that 4-year overview. You can save it to your desktop. And then I do want to point out this Excel sheet here that you can utilize as you're exploring programs. So I know there's a lot of nuances to this process, but the more organized you are in the process, the better off you'll be. So do download this form so you can start to organize individual programs you're considering applying to. You can map out all of those prerequisites and details in regards to their admissions requirements. The other resource I recommend you check out is this template here. So this is an activities journal, and you can utilize this to track your extracurricular experiences. And that way, when you're getting ready to apply, you just have a nice sheet where you can copy and paste some information into your application. It also gives you some space here for you to reflect on those experiences, and I highly recommend that you utilize this. This will be really helpful in the future for when you're actually applying to veterinary school. You have some examples that you can go back to kind of brainstorm on what you want to input into your personal statement and secondary essays. So do consider downloading these forms here, and then check out the other resources that are located on the Canvas page. We regularly post announcements, and then we're also regularly posting information on that calendar. All right, so that concludes the end of this presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at prehealthadvising@uoregon.edu. All right, thank you so much for listening.